This is Evan Robb with DisruptED TV. I'm joined today with Thompson Sixth Grade Principal from Alabama, Danny Steele. Danny, welcome.
Thanks so much, Evan. I appreciate you having me. It's exciting to be part of this here with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we can have a conversation today. I know I follow you on Twitter, as I know many people do, and you are constantly a source of inspiration with all the wonderful messages that you send out to educators, not just in the United States, but certainly all over the world. Today, we are talking about change, and we're talking about positive ways that educational leaders and educators can inspire others within classrooms, of course, students within classrooms, within schools, and of course, within divisions. So Danny, we're talking about change today.
So, in education, we certainly want to raise student achievement, and, everyone is sensitive to test scores. That's certainly what gets in the paper, but there is nobody in education that got into the business for raising test scores. So what I'm passionate about, what I hope our faculty will be passionate about, will be making a difference for kids, inspiring them, encouraging them. And as a school leader, my goal is not just to connect with kids, but administrators, I believe, are defined by their ability to support and encourage teachers and empower them. So as the principal, I'm doing everything I can to try to support and encourage my teachers, because they're the ones really that are doing the magic with the kids each day in the classrooms.
Danny, you raise a really good point. When I think back to when I was in school, and I think back to educators that had a positive impact on me, I don't remember how I did on a particular test or a standardized test within the classroom. You point this out a lot in your blog at steelthoughts.com and also on Twitter, that it's the emotional connection, it's the relationship that makes all of the difference. And I think you would agree with me that your kids will never do their best for us. They have to know that we care. And you do a really good job of inspiring that. Can you tell us a little bit about how you see your role as a sixth grade center principal day in and day out to bring some inspiration to your building?
Well, I've got just phenomenal teachers. Our staff at our school is so strong. So, I want to stay out of their way. But I do everything I can to remind them about why we're coming to work each day. And it can be little things like we've got a wall of dreams on one of our hallways where all of our students wrote their dreams, and our teachers walk by that each day on their way to work. And I remind our teachers occasionally, you guys, this is why we're here. We certainly are trying to increase their student achievement, but more than anything, we're trying to inspire and empower kids to achieve more than they thought possible, and to give them hope that they can chase some of those awesome dreams that they've got. And, teaching is hard. It is really hard. And it can be draining. And I've learned that teachers, they're hungry for inspiration. They want to be supported. They want to know that you've got their back, but they appreciate it when you remind them about the difference they're making day in and day out. I didn't start off in college. My major was sociology. I wasn't going to be a teacher, but I heard a talk from the 1986 Teacher of the Year, National Teacher of the Year. His name was Guy Dowd out of Minnesota. I'm sure some of your listeners are familiar with him. Yeah. And so he did this talk, and he talked about his experiences as a student and his experiences as a teacher. And I remember him saying, I don't teach English, I teach kids. Mm-hmm. And his powerful message just so resonated with me, and it encouraged me to change my major. And so my entire career, I just finished my 25th year. I liked history, but more than anything else, I liked kids. And my goal was to just connect with them, and do everything I can for school to be a positive experience for them. And then as a school administrator, I'm still with kids. I still love kids, but now I have the added responsibility, added privilege of trying to support our teachers and encourage them with the difference they're making every day.
Yeah, you really, wow, you said a lot there. The concept of privilege, it is a privilege. You and I are both principals. And it is a privilege for both of us, and certainly every other principal that I know, to be able to work with teachers and to be able to work with children and to be able to bring inspiration into their lives. You know, Danny, one of the things that I read about you was that you're very you always want to make sure that teachers in the building are highly connected with kids. And I believe you put out a survey, and there were, I think, 30 or 35 kids in the building that weren't sure who they would connect with. And that was something that really resonated with you. And I know that you turned that around. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, that was actually an idea I got off of Twitter, a Twitter challenge put out by Lee Ragsdale, principal in Missouri. She challenged people to ask their students who they trust. And so I did this one morning, and I did it the very morning. I thought it was had so much potential to be powerful. I did it the morning that I saw the Twitter challenge. And so out of about 500 students, we had maybe 35 kids who wrote down nobody. They don't have anybody that they feel comfortable talking to. And, you know, if you have one person who doesn't feel connected, that's one too many. So that's kind of some devastating data that it certainly should cause all of us to do some soul searching. You know, mental health is such a profound challenge that everyone is dealing with across the country. You know, for all the stuff that we talk about in school, there is absolutely nothing more important than the physical and emotional safety of our kids. And so, you know, we talked about this at the next faculty meeting. I got these kids' pictures, like their yearbook pictures, and I did a slideshow with no name. And at our faculty meeting, I slowly ran that slideshow without any sort of commentary. I just told them ahead of time, y'all, these are the students that you teach every day. And some of these are great kids. Some of them are honor roll kids. They're not necessarily the kids that you expect, but for whatever reason, they didn't feel connected. And so I challenged those teachers the last 2 months of school to figure out a way to make connections. And it's not enough for the teachers to, it's great for the teachers to try to connect. It's great for the teachers to show love and kindness, but the kids have to feel it. The kids have to feel it. They have to perceive our care and our love and compassion. And so we want to do whatever it takes for those kids to feel it. And we certainly haven't mastered it, but that's just an ongoing challenge that every educator, anyone that works with kids, that has got to drive us to ensure that our kids feel emotionally safe and emotionally connected to someone in the building. Well,
absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. You know, I know in my building we do an anti-bullying survey that we give out every year, and we get back a lot of data. And what you said is certainly makes me feel good, because I know with my staff, we look at the data. You got to take an honest look at the data, and sometimes it doesn't tell you what you want to hear. But it can be an opportunity to grow and to come together as a team and be more cohesive. You know, the other thing that you said, Danny, you know, I remember when I was younger, a while ago, I used to watch the TV show Cheers, and it had a little song which began, you're smiling because I think you watched the show also.
Yeah.
But it's this concept of a place where everybody knows your name. And that means a lot to people, and it absolutely means a lot to kids. And, you know, the message that you're sending today is inspiring. It's inspiring to me. And it's a message of inspiration. It's the message of connectivity and a message of the value of relationships.
So that's where it's at.
Yeah, and I will add, Danny, that, you know, I didn't plan to go into education either, but had some impactful kind of events that occurred within my life where ultimately I decided, yeah, you know, I wanted to go into teaching, thought I could make a difference there. And I love the concept of we teach kids, not a particular subject. That's a powerful message, and a message that needs to be heard. So thanks for sharing that today.
Oh, absolutely.
Danny, is there any other advice that you'd like to share to any principals or teachers that, as we're all across the country getting ready for the new year to begin, any messages that you'd like to share?
Well, something that I'll add that we are going to be looking at my school this year, it sort of relates back to the fact that it's not enough for the adults to have good intentions. The kids have to feel it. I feel like that I have been empathetic toward all the students in our building. I feel like I have an appreciation for the diversity we have in our school, and we do have a lot of diversity. Mm-hmm. But I realize I haven't necessarily been proactive or as intentional as I need to be. And so we are going to be putting together a team made up of a couple parents and some staff members, maybe a student or two, to look at how we can be more culturally responsive. It's, moving from accepting diversity to actually celebrating it. And I don't want to take for granted that our kids feel accepted. I want to be intentional. I want our staff to be intentional about making sure that people feel accepted, whatever their background is. And so I don't know what that's going to look like at our school. I'm not sure what our team's going to come up with, but that's a challenge we've got moving forward. And I think it's a challenge that is worth every faculty looking at, is how can we ensure that every single student feels accepted and valued, regardless of their skin color or their religion or their nationality. We don't want to let that acceptance and tolerance just happen accidentally. We want to be intentional and deliberate with it. So that's a way that we're going to try to be disrupting a little bit of status quo at Thompson Sixth Grade Center this next year.
Yeah, good for you. That's a wonderful idea. I love the concept of unity through diversity, and sounds like you're certainly going to be on the path to head down there. And I really admire how, it's hard sometimes to say, hey, I don't know every answer. I don't know what this is going to look like, but I know it's something that we need to work on. So Danny, this wraps up our conversation here today. I really appreciate you having a conversation with me and joining me on DisruptED TV.
Absolutely. Well, I enjoy following you on Twitter, and I appreciate the way that you elevate the positive voices, and with this podcast, the way you give a platform for educators to tell their story. You're part of what's right with education. I'm honored to have had this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Danny. And to our listeners, follow Danny at Steele Thoughts on Twitter, and steelethoughts.com, which is a wonderful blog where Danny keeps a lot of great up-to-date information. This wraps up my conversation with Danny Steele. This is Evan Robb reminding you that if you want to bring creativity and innovation into your life, at times you need to disrupt your routine.